This is the Big Friendly Swim podcast, and I'm the Big Friendly host. And today's guests are some members of the Cal State East Bay water polo team who last week, were rather unceremoniously told that your program was cut. Guys, how are we doing?
Not great. I mean,
We're obviously upset and angry. Like, the situation was all just shitty as a whole, so we're kind of like simultaneously like figuring out what we're doing for next year while also like fighting for our program right now.
yeah.
Tell me about go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's been like, yeah, hard, because maybe the last time we saw each other was probably the last time we'll ever see each other together as a team, and it's pretty upsetting.
Tell me about like the initial reactions. Like, were you guys all together when you found out, and like, how did the athletic department tell you?
It was kind of weird because they had told our coach before us. So while we were waiting to go into this meeting, because they had set up a meeting for us, which they called a conversation, so we obviously didn't really think anything big was going to happen. And then our coach messaged us a few minutes before saying they were going to cut our program. And so going into the meeting, obviously, since we already knew, we were just kind of in shock. Like, like some people were just like stunned. Like I was lost for words. I like did it. I had nothing to say. I just kind of had to like walk over there, and obviously other people were immediately crying and everything. So it was really hard just to go into that meeting. And then it was a meeting with our athletic director, and then the school's president, chief of staff. He was also there. If Logan and Rachel, if you didn't know who that guy was, that's who he was. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so he was, and so they then pretty much told us what was released in the press release about it being a budget cut issue. And there's also the thing about like Division II water polo not being very big. I mean, there are only 10 D2 water polo schools currently, and we're also not a part of the main sports conference, the CCAA, that East Bay is a part of. So like sponsoring us is really hard because we're such a small sport. But yeah, we were all angry. I mean, everybody had questions. We were obviously like airing out our grievances because it was like, you tell us at the end of the year in finals week, like we all had plans to like already come back. For those who were returning, like we all had made plans to come back in the fall. Like we had, set up housing, and people have storage units for their stuff up here. Like all stuff is done and paid for. And now you're telling us that we did all this stuff and we're not coming back.
Yeah, and the thing is too, with like a lot of our people that are coming back and live in housing on campus, like a lot of them had already paid for it, and two of our girls actually had already left. Like they had gone back home, and they're gonna have to, if this doesn't get resolved, like they're gonna have to come back for their stuff as well as everyone else. Like,
yeah, a lot of us like live far. I mean, like for Rachel and I, like we're still up in Hayward, and Logan's home is not. She's like an hour away. But for the two girls that already left, they were from Hawaii. Mm-hmm. We have international girls. We have girls from SoCal. Like it's not like an easy thing to come back and get our stuff and like set that up. Like it's a travel day, and more than one day for some girls. So like just to be cut off like that when there's no like easy means to like figure stuff out and like leave, like it was awful.
Yeah, and
I
we
think
were
too,
like,
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Logie.
Oh, okay. I think too, like just going back to the original conversation of like when they told us, it's just like that moment of complete disbelief because we had gotten so far in our season, and while we didn't win the championship, we lost by 1 point. I mean, to even get to that point, and then you're going to tell us like as a very successful water polo program that you're just going to cut us. I think that moment of disbelief is really just, I think for me still it's hard to believe, because it's something where it's like this has been such a huge part of everybody's life on this team, and now you're taking that away from us. And for me too, like I came to East Bay to play water polo. I transferred from a community college to play water polo at East Bay. And, going back to like the girls that had already left or the international students, and my home isn't that far away from East Bay itself. So, I had options to come home, but for those girls who had already left or are traveling internationally to go back home. It's really hard for them to now make adjustments in terms of like, are they going to come back or are they going to transfer? And, we didn't get a lot of time to make those decisions.
Yeah.
I first of all, I read the letter that I believe the former athletic director put up. And I remember swimming in that pool. I swam with the Masters team there for a few weeks. It is not like a regulation water polo pool. So just the fact that you guys were able to have that successful of a season while having so many factors working against you is in itself amazing and is a testament to the strength of the team. But I think the I can't call it anything but tone deaf to announce that during finals and graduation and think that that's okay and not to think about the factors that the students are going to have to go through. And this is just speaking for myself, I have been very vocal about both tuition being raised and about the CSU chancellor who's getting paid $1 million a year. And it's just kind of really stupid to me that they told you guys budget cuts.
Yeah.
That's such a non-reason.
It was such an interesting reason because part of it, there is some truth to it. The whole school is in a deficit, so we understand that there is somewhat of a money issue. But when you have cutoffs for budget in multiple areas in the school, we had big faculty layoffs, lecturers and everything are being cut off, and then you cut a program, you're cutting off the people that work there, teach the classes, and you're letting students go. How do you expect to be an institution when the two things that you need to be a school, you don't have?
And I don't.
And for people to make that much money and you cut a program,
Yeah.
easily take just the littlest bit of a pay cut and you could fund our program.
Maybe we don't pay her $980,000
That's
a year.
what I'm saying.
And I don't think that directing cuts to an athletics program is where to do it, because full shade, they did not think about this at all. They didn't think about
and there's issues with pay. To charge for coming into games, they do that for two sports. They do it for soccer and they do it for basketball. They don't do it for any other sports. And if you want to make revenue off of this, do that for all of them.
Yeah.
Make some money or sell apparel. I've been talking about this for years now. It's there is you could easily sell apparel for sports teams in colleges. They do it literally at everywhere else. Easily just make it it doesn't have to have our names on it. We don't need to deal with the NIL stuff and all that because that's a big deal now. But just sell East Bay water polo stuff and make some money to help fund it when you are losing money other places.
Right.
Sorry, Logan.
I think too, when we were in that meeting, they told us it'd been a conversation for months. They told us they'd been thinking about it for months, and then you tell us the last week of school before finals week. And I think that just kind of shows yes, in that press release and yes, in the statement, they were we're supporting our student athletes. How is that supporting if you are not only taking a program away that's bringing people to East Bay, but now you're taking away their opportunity to come back, and you're taking away the opportunity to have time to make a move to transfer or to continue their sports. And going off of what Bailey was saying about selling apparel and stuff like that, you walk into the student store and we're the only team not mentioned in any of the sports that they have apparel for. We're the only team not there. So it looks like it's just been, it isn't a conversation. They thought about it for a while. And, if you've thought about it for a while, why were we the last people to know when it's our sport that you're looking to cut?
Yeah, I think they should have been I think all this could have been prevented if they would just been more transparent with us and told us from the beginning. And not just that, but gave us a chance to still savor the whole year with our team. I could have spent more time with my team than because I was oh, I have another year with them, but last minute I was told that this was probably the last week I was going to be able to see my team. I was well, this is the last day I'm going to see freaking Carol because she's leaving tomorrow or whatever. That's
yeah.
it's like I could have had more time with everyone together, and we could have. I think this would have gave us more motivation to actually win championships, if I'm going to be honest.
Hmm. And like,
Yeah.
and to the claim that you're trying to save our season, it just kind of, you looking back now, it's tainted because it's like you knew this the entire time and we played together and we had a good time together and, we didn't have enough time to
They
actually,
came to our championship. The
Yep.
AD
yeah,
and our compliance director were
And they
both
knew.
down in SoCal,
and they
and they
knew.
knew. And you're gonna come to watch us and support us, knowing that this is gonna happen in a couple of weeks. Like, I think about that now, and I'm like, that is insane. If I was the AD and I knew this information, like to come down and to watch, like I would hate myself. Like
No,
that's awful. To
that is,
hold that
Mhm.
information and be like, "Congrats, guys, you made it to finals." Like,
Yeah.
like, and what
jeez,
would have happened if we would have like won?
we
Like,
would have won.
and then
And
she
you're
would
still
have
gonna
told
cut
us
us?
after. What she would have told us after we had gone to the NCAA tournament. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
Mm-mm.
then at that point, it would have just been like a waste of everything, like it is now. So I don't know.
And I think the twist of the knife in like just deleting the team's Instagram. Like I don't understand.
The day
Like,
of.
do you just not want to face the music of your decision, or like are you
Yeah.
just that stupid?
Yeah.
They've done a
Yeah.
whole like branding sort of thing, I guess you can call it, with the social media and everything that started like within this last school year. So like a lot of the social media stuff is being sort of run and produced by a company that we have brought in and signed, and the school signed a deal with. So like I'm not necessarily surprised because they're trying to like allocate resources other places, but like I think you had mentioned this in your little like Instagram reel that you posted the other day about like there's history to that
Yeah,
Instagram. Like years, like this team won a national championship like in 2008, and we've been to a conference championship game 7 times in the last 11 years. And 2 of those years were because we weren't allowed to play due to COVID. So, like, there is so much rich history and successful, like, achievements that this team has, like, accomplished that were posted through this Instagram, and you just, like, cut it away. Like, to be like we never existed is insane when we
Yeah.
are one of the most successful teams at the school.
Right. And I feel like as a team, we have way more accolades than like any other team has. We have three of our girls that are on national teams. Danny, Danny's on the South African national team. Luna is on the Chilean team, and I was on the Mexican national team. And it just makes it even harder of a punch because like literally no one else, excuse my voice, literally no one else like on other teams like have these kind of accolades, and like it just makes no fucking sense. Like,
And then you give Danny, like, player of the year and everything at
Yeah.
we
yeah.
had
I
our
was.
we
Yeah.
had
I
our
had that written
athlete awards the
down.
Monday before, so Monday night. Um, one of the freshmen, Alex Andrews, she was up for freshman of the year. She had won conference newcomer of the year. Elise was up for an award, and Danny was up for an award. Danny ended up winning most valuable player at our athletes event. So all of athletics was like, she's really good. We're super proud of her. And then like you take
You
away
cut
the
our
team that she
program.
was a part of, like
right. And I
I
don't
don't.
I think that the only reason that they, if I'm going to be honest, because water polo has never won, at least from my 3 years of being here, water polo has never won an award during our like athletics ceremony, whatever. Um, and the only time that like we get recognized and then later on we're going to get cut from the team. Like I think that they did that as like a, I don't know, it just
Pity.
felt, yeah, like as like a, well, at least you guys won like, at least you guys won the most important award. Like, it's ridiculous.
Doesn't really matter now.
Yeah.
That's such a like that's such a dumb reason to give that award. Like she was fully deserving of that award,
Hmm.
but it's like it almost. I imagine it got you guys excited. Like the team's won an award. Like this doesn't happen very often. Like let's build on it next year. Like there's how did they not realize that that was the mindset that that award would give the team how did they not realize that that was the excitement that that would give the team? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Thinking about all the factors, like the team's successful season, the awards that you guys won, all of this stuff, like, how did they think it was the right decision? It was either a really stupid decision that they made months ago and thought about, or it was they just didn't think about it until the last minute and they knew they had to cut something so that more people could pocket money, and they just pulled the trigger on something random, just threw a dart at a dartboard.
Yeah, they kind of really like, this has been an ongoing issue for like years, even before any of us like came to the school, is the athletic department's treatment of both aquatics teams, so water polo and swim, have been bottom of the barrel. And we are the best teams on campus. Like, our swim team just won their conference championships this past season, and we got second. And there's 5 of the swimmers who went to NCAAs. And we have the worst facilities on campus. We don't have our own locker rooms. Like, we're the only teams on campus that like don't have our own like sort of team room in any aspect. And then we have a pool that is kind of constantly like breaking down. And like you said, like, we've been able to like get through that and still be successful at our sport due to whatever circumstances. But it's like, when you have 2 very, very successful like teams in their respective conference, and just as the sport as a whole, like, it just shows that they don't like necessarily care about us. And that's been going on for a while, and I don't know why that's come to be. Like, you would think it'd be literally the opposite, like, oh, you guys are winning, let's give you some more stuff. But that's not the case, and it's really disappointing to see that happen like year after year.
Yeah. And if you like look back on it, like, this whole year, they like, social media was like a big thing. And I think I realized that they've been thinking about this for a very long time, about cutting our team, because I think they saw that allocating the resources to come and like do social media things with us and all that kind of things like was not worth it, because in the end they're gonna cut our team, because we would not have, and I kid you not, people would not come out to like our like photographers, videographers. We have one video, and I'm gonna tell you, it kind of sucks compared to everyone else. Like, it's so bad, the quality, and every single picture, I kid you not, we would fight with the people who I think, I don't remember what person, but we would fight with, like, tell them like, hey, can we get this picture reposted, because it's literally like 1 pixel per like fucking like square. And it would be like, we would be fighting with them to have us like look better on social media and all that kind of things. But I like, you realize now that they were trying to allocate their resources to have better, like, not spend so much money on us, because they're going to cut our program anyways. And it's like, what the hell?
I think too, like, one of the comments that the athletic director made in our meeting was that they don't have the funds to update our pool and our locker room anytime soon. And that was one of the comments that really stuck with me, because if we're as successful as both aquatics teams are, we don't need that to be successful. Like, we're making it work with what we've been given. And yes, you have these, evaluation forms of what the year looks like for you and how the season went for you. And obviously everybody's going to put that our facilities are run down. I mean, we have mice living in our locker room.
Yeah.
And that's just like, and we just have to put up with that. And that's just, we can complain about it as much as we want, but nothing's changed about it. And we've been fine with it. Like, we've worked through it, and we've gotten to these really successful standpoints, both aquatics teams have. And one of the reasons for cutting our program that she claimed in that meeting was that they don't have the funds to update our facilities at all.
Yeah, and then you build 2 new buildings at the school. Like, we have a new library, and we have a new science building.
And they're redoing the gym right now. Like, they're
redoing the floors in the basketball court in the gym. And so it's like, where are you putting your money for these budget cuts? Like, what
Yeah.
Where are things going? Where's money coming into? Like,
And if
it's
I'm gonna be honest, they wouldn't have had to spend so much money, like, because this year we've had to, I think we spent a week at Chabot. Like about and like before that, like they've had to like spend so much money like taking us like other places because they had to pay for, things like our parking passes and us being there and like all that kinds of stuff. Like if they would have just at least, I think, not going back to like the whole renewing thing, but if they would have helped us renew the pool, they wouldn't have had all these problems and wasting money taking us to
Mhm.
other pools and stuff like that.
there's
We would have
plans for a new pool. There have been plans and blueprints and everything for years. And there's plenty of space to do it. It's not like we don't have the
Mhm.
space, but I mean, like, yes, building a new aquatics facility isn't cheap. Don't get me wrong. But when this has been in the plans for like years and this team, aquatics as a whole, whether it's like the men's teams back in the 90s or you get to the women's team like now, like I feel like there's been plenty of time to do it. And even if it was just like little by little, like you don't need to like do a whole new facility in a year in a summer or whatever. Just like maybe like start a little bit here. Maybe let's fix the tile on the pool so when I get out, I'm not cutting myself type of thing, you know? Like just like little things that they could have done and improved so they're not like chunking out money for like a whole new thing. Like would have been just as fun, and even just to see like a little bit of improvement over time like would have made us feel better because it shows that, oh, you guys are thinking about us and you care about what we're doing. Like I don't need a whole new pool right now. Like it obviously that'd be great, but like if you just like fix the things that need to be fixed and make some improvements, like that's just as fine as like getting a whole facility at this point.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think for the longest time we've been our team for years, even before we were here, have been feeling neglected from the athletics program. Like all this like stems back to like just us feeling neglected as a team, not being seen.
Yeah. And I think too, along the lines of, water polo is a really small sport for D2, and water polo is it's small, and that's like a well-known factor for D2, but why would you want to take that away? I feel like it's going to draw more attention to students coming to East Bay because it's so small. Like more people want to be at East Bay to play water polo, and having this open door to the community like, hey, we do have a water polo program and it is successful and you can continue your collegiate career. And it doesn't make sense to me that that is one of the main reasons that they use to say like, oh, we're going to cut your program, is because Division 2 is so small. And I think that's kind of ironic in the sense that you're trying to get more students to come to East Bay, but you're going to take away one of the programs that is encouraging students to come here and is trying to get more students to come here. So I don't know. The whole situation to me is like, it's entirely disbelief. Like I genuinely don't understand it, and I don't it's still not setting in my head that this is like reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially like, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Especially like it being a D2 program and it being such a successful D2 program, you'd think the school administration, the athletic department would see that and be like, we can set the example for other schools that you can have a successful D2 program. Because if I'm not mistaken, UC Merced just finally brought back their program, right? Or they started up a new program.
Yeah.
And like, for me, like, I swam for community college. And I mean, like, Logan, you've seen Las Positas. We're not exactly the most well funded school. We're lucky. We have a big pool. We have two pools. And we have, like, enough room to have water polo games. But, like, for the first 3 years I was there, we didn't have enough money for, like, team hoodies. Like, we had, like, long sleeve shirts. And we were selling, like, Christmas trees and stuff like that. And we'd be going up against teams like, I mean, I'm sure all of you have heard of West Valley College. We'd be going up against teams like that who are sending kids D1. And like I remember the year that I played water polo, the coach told us, he's like, you guys are the only team where I have to actually put in my starters and like have them try, even though they still beat us like 20 to like 5. But like it's a testament to like you can be a successful program even without all the, there's a term that, like one of my favorite coaches used, with even without all the bling bling. Like you don't need to have like team robes and like be able and be flying everywhere and have like millions of dollars invested into the program to be successful. And like the social media thing, like it's so weird to me that they had an outside source run the team social media programs. Like our social media program, you guys can look it up later. It's Las Positas College Aquatics. It's run by our assistant coach. She does all of it herself. Like nobody's paying her a penny to do it. She's just doing it because she wants to. Like I'm sure had they turned the account over to you guys, you would have probably had the time of your life running the program and getting to do it as a team.
No, and
Yeah.
we did have before this year we had like control
We had
of all of
free
the
access to it.
yeah.
Like
That's so weird.
we had our assistant coach, whoever it was at a time, and even like a player or two had access to the account, and we could post what we wanted when we wanted, and like that's when like honestly like we found like we kind of got most like of the recognition on social media is because we were controlling it. And when we are able to post actual game day posts that are a specific post, not on the Instagram story, that other people could share, things get seen more. And it was such a frustrating thing to see like posts like not be an actual post and just be on the story and nobody could share it. Like our conference would go and they would share like teams like game day posts and everything, but ours couldn't be because it was an Instagram story. But the school and the company will do that for other teams, and then they would miss out on game day posts too. Like there'd be times where they just like completely forgot about us, didn't post anything, and then when we would try to do stuff and try to post stuff, they would yell at us.
That's
Yeah,
so
Get
that's
stupid.
what I
through
was
this
going to talk
company.
about. That's what I was going to talk about is how like our assistant coach took over the Instagram when she actually got hired at East Bay. Like there's a whole process that she took over the Instagram account, but when she would post stuff, she would get in trouble for it. Or she would get told to take it down, or she had to run it through 400 people before she could even post it. And it's more along the lines of that, you know, control that you're not giving us in terms of the social media, but then you secretly knew you were going to cut our program too. So it's kind of like you can say that you have control over it and we're not allowed to post all of this stuff, but then you were going to cut our program anyway. So
What does it matter?
why? Why?
Like,
Yeah.
Have
And
you
it's
guys? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it just sucks. Like I was just gonna comment that it just sucks like not having. And the thing is like we're trying to get exposure, like right. So like on our athletics page, like they still have like us on there, but like either way, I think that like throughout our season we didn't get enough exposure, and I feel like that kind of makes people not want to come, right? Because they're like, oh, what the heck? Like they're not putting out water polo in this way. They're not. And if you look at like other programs, they have like water polo like plastered all over their pages, and because especially people in our conference like Biola or FPU, like they're both very successful teams, and like water polo is plastered all over their athletics pages, so and social media, so just frustrating.
I'm pretty sure, like, if I went to, like, I think one of my friends was telling me the other day, because it's, so I've been doing as much as I can to share the petition you guys made. Like, I sent it to my coach, he shared it with the whole Las Positas team, and one of my friends was telling me, that she went to the team website and noticed that, like, water polo was the first thing that was there. That she went to, like, the athletics website. And even, like, our women's water polo program is not very successful. Like they barely had a team 2 years ago, and this is the first year they've had a full. Sorry, this is the first year they've had a full like team. But the school's taken a lot of pride in that. Like the athletics account was constantly posting about the water polo program. The first game that they won, there was several posts about it. Like you'd think you'd only get benefits from supporting a team. Like the supporting a team, whether it be financially or from social media or just talking about them, only ends up benefiting them. I just, and then like it's such a weird thing to me. Like the day after that post came out, or even like seconds after that post, like I opened my Instagram and I saw the post from NCAA water polo. They were cutting the team, and I went to post about it and be really pissed about it, and the account was already gone. And then like
I'm
later,
sure. Yeah.
good.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure it was gone way before our meeting, like, and we didn't even like notice.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
it's just so weird. Like, why would you do that if it wasn't just to like if you didn't want to face the music. And then like a day later, I went online because I'm like, at the very least, I want to get a team shirt and be like vocal in my support for this team. And they didn't even have that anymore. And I'm like, I know
No.
you have them. Like I know they have them in the student store sitting there. Like, so why would you just take them off the shelves and get rid of them?
Yeah,
We've
it's
never had a water
ridiculous.
polo shirt in the student store.
Oh, really?
There's never been a water polo shirt in the
Oh, I
student
had
store.
no idea.
that's what
Oh
Logan
yeah,
was talking about. How like we're not getting like there's basketball. I know I've seen
Even
basketball.
like swimming has
Baseball,
shirts.
swimming,
swimming
yep,
has one, and
softball has on, soccer has them, and
we're the only
The
team that doesn't.
it really was so hard for them to just like take the same copy, take
it's like
Control C, Control
volleyball.
V, and then add water polo.
Literally, like
Like
it's that was one of the
I
most
know
like
the Canva template exists.
Yeah, it does for every other sport apparently,
Yeah,
it's just not ours.
that's so weird. And
yeah,
then
and
you
it's
get
like
uh,
to get like recognition and everything, especially like college water polo is really small, but water polo as a whole is a growing sport. Like it continues to grow and like start teams like across the country. And California is a big hot spot for aquatics and water polo specifically, and the Bay Area is like only growing. So to cut one of those college Bay Area teams is ridiculous because you have like big schools like Berkeley and Stanford nearby where those are like big D1 teams and very, very successful women's programs. But for somebody who, that isn't such an obtainable goal, and that's a lot of people because, like, not everybody's going to get the chance to go there, not only athletically, but academically as well. Like, you can go to a more affordable school and still play the sport that you love, but now that's being taken away from not only us, but people who are looking for it in the future.
Yeah, and like going off of that, I think that like for at least people like me, like I come from a low income background and I don't have a lot of money. Like my parents like are trying their best to help me, but I think when I first came to East Bay, it was like one, it is the most diverse school in California. And that is one of the big reasons why I came to East Bay was because of the diversity here. They had a great water polo program and I could play just as competitively as I have. And I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, where there's a total of two club teams in New Mexico. And I think that just being from my background, like East Bay was like one of the biggest like schools that I wanted to come to because going to a D1 was way too expensive. I didn't have enough exposure or enough stats to go to East Bay. So now people that come like from the same background as me are not going to have the same opportunity, like, and it really sucks because like it's not East Bay was probably like my perfect fit, but now like it's
Yeah,
like
I
gone.
can agree on the perfect fit being in for different reasons, and I know Logan's reasons for coming here are different too. This was the only school that I could afford to go to, and affordability is a big reason for I think a lot of us, because like Cal States are one of like more affordable schools like across the country and in the state in general. It was a school that I could afford, and it was the only school that had construction management and water polo. Super niche for me. Like I didn't have a lot of options. If I wanted to do water polo and the major that I wanted, I'd have to like try to go to a private D1 and that wasn't going to happen. I don't have the money for that and neither do my parents. So like for me, it literally was the perfect fit. Like I had no other options. I could be on a competitive team. I could do the major I wanted and I could afford it. And so now that, one of the main reasons I came here is gone, it's like, whoa, like what am I supposed to do now? Like I don't have the option to like go play water polo necessarily somebody else because I can only afford here and it has my major.
And it sucks more for like now, like currently for like Bailey because she like there's no other construction management like schools that have, and she's already so far in her degree. Like what she's losing her like water polo,
I'm
life.
not gonna play. I'm not gonna play anymore. Like that was it for me. So to think like that was my last game back at the end of April, like is insane. That's like it was great we were in the championship game, but knowing like that's what I went out on, like the heartbreak and everything I felt after losing that game, like that's how I ended my career is so frustrating. And like, yeah, I'm still going to be somewhat involved in water polo because I coach and stuff, but to like not play anymore at that level is just like it's devastating. Like it was such a heartbreak.
I like I remember like my last year on the team for Las Positas, and like I remember like I'd been on the team for 4 years because of COVID. Like so, I got 2 extra years that I never thought I would, and it kind of like for me at least, the team obviously didn't get cut, but like it put me in the mindset of like there's a hard end on my competitive swimming career, and it let me swim with that freedom for 2 years of like I can push myself as hard as I can, and I know like at some point this is all going to be over, so enjoy all of it. And I feel like it almost would have been, it wouldn't have made it right. It wouldn't have made it okay if they had told you guys before your season started. But it almost would have been kinder. Like it would have been like, instead of like a stab in the chest, like just like a light push instead. To just tell you at the beginning of the season and let you have that sense of pride in your team going into those final games. It wouldn't have made it right, and like it would have still been a really frankly stupid decision, but it would have at least given you that time to know.
Yeah, and
I'm
it's
so
frustrating because all of us are we're going to be seniors. Like next year, like that was going to be our last year, and so we were already like in the mindset of like knowing, okay, this is going to be our last season. We're going to take as much of it as we can get. We're going to enjoy ourselves and really try to end up on top because we knew going into next year that we would have had a really good chance at like winning conference again. Like there was no doubt behind it. Like everybody knows. But now that that's just like taken away, like no more senior season. We don't have that same chance. And I know Rachel's already spoken on this to like take every moment in. Like if we had known, like you said, like beginning of the season or whatever, I would have like been like, this is like I knowing this is gonna be like my last games and like really appreciating what I have and getting everything. But now we don't get that and the grieving process is like completely different and it's more like angry than it bittersweet.
yeah. Like I don't know what I think they thought it was going to be as easy as we're going to stay or we're going to leave because like I don't think they realized that I don't know why they didn't think about the whole transfer process because now like us like I'm in the transfer portal and I know a lot of my teammates are, but now it's like these teams have their teams already. And most like there are a couple teams that are still recruiting, but like it makes no sense. Why would you tell us, "Oh, we'll help you transfer." All they did, if I'm going to be honest, was just put you into the transfer portal. After that, I haven't gotten a single word from anyone from the athletics department. Like I had to reach out to them for first of all, like I feel like they should have had to reach out to us if we wanted to transfer or not, or what are our plans. They have not like reached out to us. I think I had to be like, hey, I want to enter the transfer portal, and then they send me the steps. I'm in the transfer portal, but after that, it was like they didn't reach out to us. How are you doing? Like they said, oh, there's counseling services. We have counselors on standby. During the meeting, where they're like, we have some counselors on standby, so if you guys need to use that, go ahead. And we were literally outside of the PE building in shambles. Like I kid you not, we were outside like bawling our eyes out. We were on the floor in the
On the
grass.
grass, on the floor, like
Some
we
of
didn't
us,
know what to do with ourselves. We were just like it was like hysterical, like just
yeah,
reaction. And
Yeah.
so it was like to get this like, oh, we're gonna help you, but like we'll give you the bare minimum. Just once
Yeah.
again goes to show that they don't care.
and like the athletic director just walks by us like in shambles on the floor, like sobbing,
He
crying. Like
did?
he
Well,
walked,
after? Like
he
after
like
we were
He
done or
did?
after like later?
like after we
Oh.
were, and no, when we were like in like
The
front of the
initial first part?
yeah, and because like I heard the footsteps, you know, of the heels,
Or
and I
her
looked.
heels, because she always wears heels. You will never catch the AD like not in heels. It's the funniest thing
That's like
ever.
a movie villain thing to do.
No, yeah,
100%.
and she walks by and she's like with the guy, whoever, I don't even know who the hell that
The
guy is.
chief of staff, yeah.
And so he walks by and like they walk by and they're like confused, you know, and they keep on walking and I'm like, bruh, like
Hey, like
hey,
nothing else to
Yeah.
say. Like,
like Ingrid is over here like ah, and I'm just like ah, like
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, I think too, like I have a different experience from Rachel and Bailey because this was my first year on the team because I did go to community college because, out of high school I decided that I wanted to continue playing and I do have that, you know, time that I can play that you mentioned about, I only have a certain amount of time before I'm done playing for the rest of my life and I can't go back to that. And I went to community college because I wanted to continue. And when I made the decision to transfer to a, NCAA school, that process is hard. And I mean, it's not easy. And the uncertainty is ridiculous. Like, I'm a person who likes to know certain things. Like, I have to have certainty. And, the uncertainty of knowing that you might go to the school, but you might not, or you might end up here, you might not, or you might not even play all together, you might, or you might. It's just, the uncertainty is very consistent. And when I started the process of transferring from a community college to, East Bay, I started at the beginning of my sophomore year. So I hadn't even started my sophomore season yet. But I started early on because, like Rachel said, these teams already have their set roster. They already gave away all of the scholarship money. So now the rest of my team is trying to make this move into the transfer portal, and it's really hard to do that when these teams are already having, their set rosters and they already gave away their scholarship money. And, the athletic department can say that they're supporting us, but they really just screwed us because these girls that want to continue playing and want to enter the transfer portal don't have enough time to do that, don't have enough time to make these connections with the coaches or the athletes on the team. And it's just, it's a very frustrating process. And for me, like Bailey, if water polo doesn't come back at East Bay, I'm done. That was the last year of my career because I have a set life now in East Bay, and I came to East Bay to play water polo, and I made the connection with this team and I made the connection with my coaches. And I came to visit prior to my official visit, and this team just made it feel like home. And and having that taken away it's a sense of identity that's completely taken away now.
I remember, like, it's obviously completely different because, like, we figured at some point the team would probably be back. But I remember, like, I remember very clearly the meeting that we had with our coaches when we found out that our season was over, like, the middle of COVID. And I remember for me, it was, like, my first collegiate season. And for the longest time, swimming had felt very, like, disjointed for me. And it was like the first meet of the season where I was like, all right, I'm back. I feel like myself again. I feel like I'm swimming well again. And like I'm putting in the work and I'm having fun. And then, oh, sorry, you're done. And like I remember being really scared of like, what if the season doesn't come back? What if we don't get that time? What if like this is it and we're done? And we were obviously lucky enough, like, my coach, Jason Craighead, is like one of the most stubborn people I've ever met. And I say that fully as a compliment. He fought with the school's athletic department. Like, I'm pretty sure he may have given them death threats. Not actually, but he fought with them for months on end to advocate for us getting in the water. And I remember we're lucky enough that like the athletic department at Las Positas is fairly good about making sure all the programs have at least the bare minimum of what they need. But to announce that you're cutting a program during finals and graduation is just so, like, I keep saying stupid because I can't think of any other word. It's cruel. Because there's no way they didn't know. There's no way they didn't know how much that screwed you guys. Like, they had to have known.
No, yeah. And I had to like ask for extension because that same day I had a essay due and I was like,
One of
I didn't even
one of
think.
us had a final that day. Like we had this a meeting at 11:30 and one of our girls had a final at 12:45.
So that poor girl had to put herself together.
Cry herself through this final knowing that like she has to go back to Spain. She was one of our internationals, not knowing what's gonna happen, if she's gonna go anywhere, is she gonna stay in Spain? Like she's clueless. She was a sophomore, so she has still 2 more years of eligibility if she decides to like continue playing. But like going into a final and then like leaving in the next couple of days, like just like in shambles, like having no clue where to go, what to do is like it's so insane and it's so insensitive. Like we continue to get these like things about, oh, we want to support you guys, we care about you guys, we're proud of you guys, but you leave us like this, like that's insane. Like that shows the exact opposite. It's so hypocritical. It's like insane, and it's happened like again and again, like for like the 3 years that I've been here.
Yeah, and going off of what Bailey said, it's yeah, like she said, it's been going on for 3 years already, and I think that me and Bailey have seen a lot. This team go through a lot and a lot of phases, and I think that just like ending it on this, and obviously the alumni right now are obviously confused just as much as we are, and I think that it's unfair not just to us as a team but to the alumni because now they're like, well, we just spent all of this like time and
They come to our games, they come and support us, and I have there's like a specific alumni, like she messages me all the time about like water polo and doing stuff, and like what's the team like, what are we doing, like when we were in the process of getting a new assistant coach in the fall, like she was checking in on that. And so like to know like not only is this a loss for us, it's a loss for them too, because there's always this talk about when your alumni is coming back to your college and like this place is like a second home, and like all these like big growth things happen when you're in college, which is very true. But now the part that helped them do that and the team that was there for them through those years is gone. Like they have no place to come back to anymore.
yeah.
And so like you've broken a whole system, and you've lost support not only from us and other athletes who like are trying to help us figure stuff out, but also the alumni. Like
Yeah.
lost faith in you no matter what their relationship was when they were here. Like it's gone. Like you've just like severed so many ties.
Yeah, and kind of
22 years worth.
yeah, no, it's
At least for the time Coach Lisa was
Yeah.
here, because we've had like Coach Cappy, who he passed away back in March. He's been this school since the 60s when they had men's swimming and diving and men's water polo. Like there is so much rich history within aquatics at East Bay, and you take away one of the most successful aquatics programs, just programs in athletics in general, and man, people are angry.
yeah, and kind of side note too, during the meeting, one of our um one of our teammates, she had asked like, so if we graduate, are we still going to graduate as student athletes? And I kid you not, the AD, the athletic director, was like, she like was quiet for like a good minute, and then she was like, "Well, I'm so sorry. Like I was prepared for every question but that one." And she said, "I don't know. Like I don't know." I'm like, "What the hell do you mean you don't know? Can you tell me like
I've been
what
here
is
for 3 years, contributed to
exactly?"
this program, and you're gonna tell me I'm not a student athlete?
Right. She's not going to graduate as a student athlete, which is ridiculous. Like, and we don't know if this is like right, but to just say like she wasn't prepared for something like that
To admit
because
that
right,
is
she was like, I don't. She's like, I don't know. Like her face was in shock, and it was kind of funny to be frank. I was like,
daughter, like you thought you were smooth and could get away with this.
Yeah.
No.
And then you guys talked about like the potential Title IX violations, like that are incurred by the school's decision. Like, I mean, the school already has a lack of programs as a whole, in my opinion. Like, it's such a like in the times that I drove there, I would always see like rundown fields that look like decades old that are not used anymore. So like what are like the potential Title IX violations, like to the best of your knowledge, by them doing this?
I couldn't even tell you. I mean, like, there's the big thing about like with Title IX and like student enrollment thing, and I know like there's the whole issue with enrollment being down, but we are a majority like female student population, and now you're taking away a female sport. Like, what? I'm really curious to know like what the data is on that. Like,
I
does
believe it
that?
was 59% of the school's population is female.
Yeah, and so we already have more like female athletic teams than male, like in general. Like that's been here like for years before even I got here. But now you're taking away a female sport, the female population, like what are you trying to like do
What
here
are we
with
doing?
that? Because like that's gonna like kind of need to get fixed. And I know there's other like teams that probably have the same issues as us, but you're not
Yeah.
gonna cut them.
Right, and looking at like I remember if it was my first year or second year, but I remember that the I think it was my first year that our men's basketballs like locker room got like completely, and I tell you, like completely glammed up. Like they have a whole like flat screen TV in there. They have
Couldn't tell you the last time they won conference
no,
or even made it to that game. I'm not to diss them, like we're good friends with like guys on that team, but like being real honest right here, they've
and
been
like
like struggling for a while.
yes, and I remember because the women's basketball, they so it's our locker room, our big ass locker room, and then it's them like in there, but it's like a smaller room, and I remember them complaining about being like, why haven't they like done ours yet? And they still haven't done theirs. I actually don't believe,
Yeah, and they won conference.
and they won a conference.
The women's team won.
Yeah,
And like I said earlier, like we don't have our own locker room. Like our locker room that we share with swim and that we share with anybody else who wants to use a pool locker room, it's pretty big and could easily be divided into like separate spaces for both teams. Like it's not even it's the locker room that's been there since the building was built. Nothing has been redone. Nothing's been updated. Once again, there are mice that have literally taken bites out of food that we have in our lockers. Like
yeah,
how like could you at least maybe solve the rodent problem in any way so like my lunch isn't eaten while I'm at practice?
and like
Like
Cal State Hayward, which is still at
there's
the
a big
bottom of
H
our
still at the
pool.
bottom of our pool. Like could you at least like retile it for a
I'm pretty sure I
TV?
still see
Like
some like trash cans too. Like I whenever I'd go to the science building, I'd see some trash cans that still said Cal State Hayward.
yeah, so it's like the school's like making updates in areas that I don't know if it's like interesting that they're putting their money there, if it's a little bit undeserving, like where's the money? And I know like for some things it's like a donor thing. So like because water polo like is a small sport and we are like generally a smaller team that like we don't have a ton of alumni donations coming in compared to other teams. Like a big example that I know because we were all frustrated about this is baseball. Baseball has a really big alumni network for that team, and so they get a lot of money for that. And from what I've concluded myself is that's where they were able to go on this 8-day trip to Hawaii, like with like 40 guys and a trainer, when we just go to like Fresno Pacific, which is a 3-4 hour drive, and we don't get anybody coming with us,
Yeah, and
like
same
no
goes for like
trainers.
yeah, same goes for like the soccer team. Like both teams, like the Oakland Roots sponsored them to get the whole field done. Like
And that's it's not even they weren't sponsoring them. It was because the Oakland Roots needed to use our soccer stadium and the field to play their home games. It wasn't like it wasn't necessarily a generosity thing like, oh, this is a local collegiate like team, we're gonna like help them out and get them a new field. No, the Oakland Roots organization needed the field, so they're like, we need a field to play on, so we're gonna upgrade yours so we can use it.
and if we just look for more opportunities like that, I don't think that like they're even trying to look for like
No,
opportunities like that. There's no way because I wish there was a time where they could like they want to host the WWPA championship conference here would be
and
amazing, but we can't because our pool isn't
is
like
tiny.
it's tiny, and we have to go to another thing. We have to go to San Leandro's pool
Practice
to
in a bigger pool space.
whenever we're coming up to like a tournament or a game where we playing in a bigger pool, we go to San Leandro
High
Friday,
school. We go
Thursday.
to a high school. A high school has a better pool than us. Let's put it that way.
Like,
Multiple high schools have better pools than us, and that's sad.
mhm. And these high schools don't even have water polo teams. I don't even think San Leandro has a water polo team.
They do. It's really, really small. They barely have enough for a varsity team. I
Right.
only know that because I coach Castro Valley High School. Like it's like their level of program is so small and so beginner, yet they have this wonderful, spacious pool that's literally like almost like a 50-meter pool, or it is, I can't remember. And we have a 6-lane, 25-yard pool, and there's two of them, but the other one is all shallow and you can't play in it. You
They
can't even
honestly
like
kind of
swim in
both
it.
suck to swim in too. Like having
Yeah,
swam in both of them, they both kind of suck to swim in.
Yeah.
yeah. So, it's real frustrating.
I wrote down like some of the accolades that the teams had, like a team GPA of like 3.8, 3.5, which was like the fourth highest of all the athletic teams, which there's like 15 total across like men and women, just random thrown out number off the top of my head. Like you guys Division 3 national title in 2008. Like your head coach has worked with the team for 2 decades and like has won a number of awards for her coaching. Like that rich of a team in history and culture, like you'd think they'd want to nurture that. You'd think they'd want to build something with that because that's the type of thing that can put a school on the map. I mean, like University of Pacific is not exactly a. I mean, in my opinion, it's not exactly like a huge, well-known school. Like they're a D1 school, but like their water polo program puts their school on the map because they're consistently like top five in the country. Like I think they won national championships for D1 a few years ago. Like, have you guys been talking with alumni? Like, is there any ideas or next steps that you guys have, or like, and then like, how many people have like signed like the petition?
Yeah, so we're like in talks with a lot of people. We're very much like trying to spread this petition wherever we can. Like we've all talked with family, friends, like I've sent it out to alumni. There's like parents of the players I coach who've gone to East Bay, so they're sending it out to the East Bay Alumni Network. And so we're spreading it as much as we can. And in the last 24 hours, we've gotten over 1,000 signatures on the petition, which is like crazy. Did not think it would like get signed that quickly. So we're just kind of like working on like kind of getting awareness of the situation right now and potentials that like we could get support to get our program back. Things that we're doing today is obviously this, and we're super grateful that you gave us this opportunity to talk about the situation in our program, because Rachel and I personally are going to go in person to a board meeting at East Bay that's today, and they're going to talk about the discontinuation of our program. And so we're going to be there. There's also a Zoom that I know Logan and some of the other girls will be on to kind of like see what they're talking about, see what they're saying, if we can like have any input or say anything on it as well. So we're kind of just like spreading the news. We were on ABC7 Bay Area Monday night, and we've been kind of spreading the clip about that. So that was a really cool opportunity. So yeah, we're just trying to like get out the word and get this petition signed even more than it already has.
And I think I don't know what they thought if they really didn't think that there's going to be retaliation with all this. Like,
Yeah,
um,
like honestly, the way they dealt with it, obviously thought it was gonna be cut and dry. But like when you have a team of girls that's like super close knit, like this is my second family. These girls like mean the entire world to me. They've helped me through so much. Like I'm not gonna give that up. And when you have a coach who's been working there for over 20 years, like you think she's gonna give that up either? Like no. Like this has pretty much become like our livelihoods. Like this is the reason I'm here. Like, I wouldn't be playing water polo if I hadn't come to East Bay. I wouldn't have met all these, like, my best friends if I hadn't come to East Bay. Like, it's like I'm not like we're not gonna let this go lightly. It's not like, oh well, my team got cut. No. No, I'm fighting for this because this is the sport I love and these are the girls I love and I don't want to give it up just yet.
You know, admittedly, for years, I wrongfully discounted water polo as like something that wouldn't really interest me or something that I didn't think was really like an avenue I wanted to go down. And then my coach finally talked me into it my third year on the team. He was like, just come try a week. Just come do 1 week, and if you don't like it, don't do it. I'm like, all right. And I was lucky enough to be on the team in like one of the team's best years on record. Like we had 17 or 18 guys, and like we had enough money from like saved up from the previous year because we hosted conference and states. So we were able, had a lot of money to travel, and we even like flew down to San Diego. Like we were exceptionally lucky that year. Like all the stars aligned, and I just remember being so grateful for every person on the team was helping me because I didn't even know how to pass a ball, guys. Like I spent a week learning how to hold a water polo ball. And it's like that experience, those 3 months that I had with that team is something that I would do over again in a heartbeat if I was able to. So I understand that feeling of like that team keeps you going, and like the thought of never having that again is terrible. Like I've been really hurting for your team for the past week. Like just because student athletes should be able to play their sport, and especially in the Bay Area and like dominated by D1 schools like Berkeley, Stanford, University of Pacific, like all these big schools, it always made me happy that there was a D2 program. I remember talking about this with Shane Pelton, the head swim coach. Like he was really happy that there's a D2 program, and they were such a successful D2 program. I'm not going to be able to understand the reasoning of enrollment shortfalls. And I feel like that speaks to a wider problem with CSU's like raising tuition while cutting student programs.
And then
Like
your chancellor makes like way more money than they should. And
apparently she makes like 750K a year as her salary, and then it's like an additional 200 plus thousand for like living costs. Like so like that's where all the
is
money's
that not
going.
included with your 750K that you get every year? in
Yeah.
costs? Like,
And then like teachers are getting paid like less than high school teachers. It just like CSUs and colleges in general like have just proven that the bottom line is putting more money in the pockets of the higher ups and not the actual students.
Right, and like we're having to pay for the government's inability to learn how to budget correctly, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Like there's no way the money is there. There's no way the money isn't there. Like just take 100,000 from her salary and every year and put it into the team. It's not that hard.
Right.
Well, that's like everything I had to. I had that at least I wanted to ask you guys about, but I want to give you guys one last chance. Like anything you wanted to say, and like I'm really glad that we were able to set this up. Like I don't have a big platform, obviously, but like it's a growing one, and it's one that I want to use for stuff like this. Like just because it's called the Big Friendly Swim Podcast doesn't mean that people from any sport aren't welcome here. So just anything you guys have to say, like I really want to get your message out there and let people hear you.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us and
Yeah.
share what we've got going on. We appreciate it.
And we're gonna keep on fighting this, and hopefully our team will get back together. I don't know, but
I'm gonna be posting this like as soon as possible. Like this might even go up like today.
yeah.
So like be
Yeah.
posting it as soon as possible. Like I'll continue to try to get more eyes on this program. Just like I mean, you guys were doing so well. Even like one of my former swim teammates, who actually knows water polo, and like I was looking at the stats and I was desperately trying to understand like um she knows water polo. She looked at it. She's like, "This is one of the best statistics I've ever seen for a team." Like she compared like you guys to like West Valley in terms of like overall statistics.
And I think that with us, it's like we don't have like we have our like big players, but if you look at all of our statistic as a whole, like they're pretty evened out because
Yeah.
like all of us have like some like amazing like high highs, and it's just like if you each game like there's about like 7 people who contributed to the whole scoreboard, and it's not like one person shot all 10 shots. It's literally like 10 of us scored 1 goal each because of how well we work together as a team. And it's like it's just our stats are have always been like that, to be honest.
It's a big thing that we've said, and especially like this year, like going through whatever, is we play for each other. Like it's not about getting one person the ball, it's about getting everybody the ball and everybody the opportunity. And we work so well together, and we all have the skill to do great things. And so that's something that it's come down to, is like everybody contributes, we play for each other. And so now in this situation, we're gonna fight for each other. We're gonna fight for our team and see what we can do to like support each other and make sure that we're not gonna like go out on a low note. Like we're gonna like see what we can do to like make this situation better in any way possible.
You know, I remember like that first moment in water polo where I kind of felt it all come together. And like I'm so grateful for my team and my coaches because they did a phenomenal job of both making me feel included as somebody who was literally starting from square zero, from nothing. Like we played against Sierra College. We lost pretty bad. But we played against teams who were, the best way you can put it is they were more on my level of like they had inexperienced players and they had people who didn't really like know the sport as well. And that was the opportunity I got to play. Like, and I'm never gonna not be thankful for that. Like I cried after our last game. And I remember that feeling of playing really hard against these teams and like getting destroyed by West Valley. But even like West Valley, like we'd finish the game, or even before the game, we'd finish or before it, and everybody would be friends, and we'd talk and hang out. Like they warmed up with us for a game one time. Like I understood that culture, and like obviously it's different on every team, but I think that culture persists across water polo as a whole. Of like when you're in the game, you're fighting with this team and you're fighting for your team, but outside of it, you have those positive interactions and you have those memories that you make and those lifelong friends that you make. Like Logan, I'd be willing to bet like you probably have friends that you made on Sierra College from other teams.
100%, 100%. And I think that, you know, a lot of those girls were going to come to East Bay, and we had a bunch of transfers that were signing from West Valley or from, you know, Sierra College.
From
and
RCC, like
yeah, like we had a bunch of those transfers that, you know, had built that community, built those connections, and now they don't even get the opportunity to continue that at East Bay anymore.
You know, in the fall, like if for whatever unfortunate reason things don't pan out, come by Las Positas. Like I would be extremely surprised if Jason and Kate and all the coaches on the team, if they wouldn't welcome you guys with open arms, if even just to have you practice with the team and still get to play the sport. I don't know how any of the eligibility requirements would work. I have no idea how any of that would work. But like I like strongly encourage you guys, like if things don't work out, come by and talk to them. Like there's no way they wouldn't at least tell you, like, come practice with the team. All right, well, thank you guys so much. I will get this posted as soon as, like, I'm literally going to go in and edit and put, like, name tags for everybody in the video, and I'm going to post it as soon as I can.
Thank you.
thank you. This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your day. Good luck at that board meeting. Good luck on that Zoom call. Please keep me posted. Let me know how things are going.
We will.
You guys have a great day.
You too.
See ya.
See you.
Bye.